Hey profit takers, it's Victoria here, and we are back with another video. Today we're going to look at some very simple day trading setups. I'm going to share with you one of my favorite setups today, and we talk about some of the trades that I posted in Locals. So if you're not a part of Locals, be sure to join, guys. It's free if you are a member of the Profit Takers Alert dashboard. If you are not, then it's only $5. Okay. All right. So right now, we are looking at the Euro Aussie, one of my favorite pairs to trade because it has a lot of volume. Okay. So this morning, guys, this thing was showing as a one high of week, basically saying that today is going to be a day two trend day. Now, I always say day two trends can fail. Okay. They can do nothing, and this one actually, not only did it fail, it reversed. And as I was watching it and posting it in the group, I was like, okay, if this thing continues, guys, this thing is looking like it's going to go long. Okay, and I'm going to kind of take you through my thought process. And let's get, oh, here it is. Here it is right here. How it was looking this morning, right? And this is typical. What I always do, guys, is I'll look and see, okay, did it break the previous day high? Boom, check. I'm gonna count this. All right. Now, yesterday, Thursday, yesterday was Wednesday. Today's Thursday. It closed. It closed at the below the open, and that's a signal that the next day is going to continue red. And it did. And it not only did it continue red, it finished the cycle and put a low in for the day. So I was thinking, okay, if this thing retraces, maybe it's going to retrace around here, and I'll show you where I drew my fibs from there. And then I went to H4 and I drew my fibs from H4 as well. I'm like, well, sometimes it can come up here, right? Not necessarily taking out the high, but we have to remember, if it takes out highs, guys, and respects lows, then we got to change our mind. Okay. And here's how it played out. And I got in this trade a little bit late because I had forgot. This is what happens when you get distracted. All right, I got in a little bit late. Got a little pips there, and then I got out of the trade because I was like, okay, I think I missed my entry. It was way missed, so I just got what I could today. All right, but nonetheless, guys, what I did this morning after I posted that, I was like, okay, if this thing does retrace, I'm going to look at it. I went from the low to the high here, and this was the area that I was targeting, around this area. And I was like, okay, if it doesn't retrace there, then, it could come up here, right? But if it does come up to this area, guys, you got to think about it, right? You got to remember to look at price action. What is it doing? We know that when the market structure, you have a break-in structure, right? Because here was the break-in structure right at yesterday's high. And oftentimes on a day two trade, guys, you would want to take your entry there. And that's how it was for the earlier session in Asia. You want to take your entry at the yesterday's, or the daily high and low, whatever you want to call it, yesterday's low. That's where you want to enter. Okay. And oftentimes it can come up to this area and give you another opportunity to take this entry again. Right. But one thing did happen when it did that, when it came back up to the daily high low, or the yesterday's, whatever you want to call it, the blue tracer. This thing has many names. Okay. It came down here and it retested the order block area. All right. So by the time I came back to this chart, guys, it was already past the yesterday's high again, and it did the retest. And I was like, man, I missed this. I missed to get in early, but I got in, and just like I said, I got what I got. Okay. So here, guys, I went to H4 and I was like, okay, let me just get an idea here, because sometimes on H4 you can also see where the retracement is going to be, because you can have a long trade. Right? Absolutely. You can have the long trade, guys, because you're going to have the retracement on the higher time frame, and that's where you want to take your measurements from. Okay. I did that wrong. I'm talking too much here. So we're going to go from the high to the low. And that's where I got, where I drew this box. Okay. Thinking that, okay, looking at the higher time frame, if this thing takes out this high here, then it's obviously game over. But if it retraces, that's great. But as we can see on the lower time frame, we did get where it did break structure enough to change. Now, we've had a lot of news this week, right? And oftentimes when we have a lot of news in the market, there's really no telling which way the market's going. So you really have to pay attention to price action in the patterns. Like even this pattern here looks like the half of Batman, just the way I'm looking at it now. And I can also see these, this is H1 now. You can see these giant candles on a normal trading day. This is obviously a signal that's letting us know that the market is going to reverse, especially when I see this half a bat. So I'm going to leave this here, guys, tomorrow and see if we're going to get support in this area and continue to go up, or if it's going to break down and continue to break, because it didn't take out the week's high yet. Okay, that's another thing. But if it does take out the weekly high, then of course we're still long, because going long is all about breaking highs and respecting lows. All right, so this was a very good trade, guys, today. Like I said, I got in it kind of late, so I just got what I could. But it was definitely one that I did talk about and was encouraging you guys to look at it. Now, do all the trades play out? Absolutely not. Okay, not everything is going to play it like we want it to, but when it does, shoot, you can have about let's say you're looking at let's see, 4, maybe 6. You got a handful of instruments. You got 6 of them that you're looking at, and you're just waiting to see, is it going to break structure? Is it going to respect the high, respect the low, right? That's what you're looking for. These signals, they come every single day, and I think they're absolutely great. But you have to also have some discretion, okay? You don't want to just get in the trade and then you see a giant W, okay? All right, so this is GJ. You have to excuse my mess here, because I'm working on this one to the PDF. This stuff takes a lot of work, guys, to put all this together. But I wanted to show you the before, right? When I was looking at this trade, there's a few things here that I want you to take note. First of all, it is 3 days from the high of week, okay? Technically, guys, it's still 3 days for me, but since we're in a new trading day, right, it's going to change to 4, right? So what I want y'all to notice here is, okay, that was the high. I want you to notice that this is day 1 and this is day 2, okay? All right, so day 2, I'm going to just draw that line there, because what are we expecting, right? Day 2 didn't break at all. So if day 2 does not break, guys, what do? You go on to day 3 and expect that move to happen, right? We expect it to break, and we expect it to break right at that tracer. Look at that, yesterday's low. That's our entry every time, okay? This is our safe entry. Obviously, you could have probably come in earlier, but I don't know if this is your trading session, right? But your best bet right here on day 3, doing a trend trade, which should have happened on day 2, but it didn't. So, and that's why I wanted to show you this one. And just forgive me for not having all this done, but nonetheless, guys, you can see how day 2, nothing happened. Day 3, which was Thursday, it finally broke, and that was our first day of a break of the low. So I am always looking for, when I come into the market, right, I'm looking for at least 2 of these breaks to have happened, and then where is price, right? So we got our first break there. The next break is here, right? The next day, prices did break below, so that was our next break. And then what else happened today, right? When I get to the charts, I'm like, okay, price is at the low. Okay, so that break happened and the low was formed, and this is where I got in. As you can see, the marker of this particular trade, you can see I got in here. This was my buy entry, and then that was the target. And that was just using the trade manager. I just used that, got in the trade, and that was that. And let's see, I got in it on my other account too. And that's where I had all my markings. So sometimes I'm working off of 2 different accounts here, guys. because this particular account, Orlando, does not let me trade indices. So I have to use the other one, the other broker, Mugan, if I'm saying it right, because they're fairly new to me. I started using them. That information is, if you need a broker, that information will be in the description as well. But yeah, Mugan Forex, right? I started using these guys, and there I can trade indices. So I do have two accounts here. Okay. All right. So, and then of course, Orlando, they just, it's really tight over there. You know what I'm saying? Your leverage is tight. So it forces you to be even more disciplined on top of using the trade manager. All right. So what else did I talk about today in locals? We also talked about, let me bring it over here. Okay. We talked about EC. Okay. Where are you, EC? There we go. We talked about EC. And as you can see, it was another one, another 3 low of day. So we had our 2 breaks. Okay. So I'm like, cool. That's what I'm looking for. I'm also looking to possibly go long. And what we want to do when we go long, we want to make sure that we're respecting the lows and we're breaking the highs. So I'm like, okay, this will be that 3rd break, right? And if that happens, then shoot, that's my entry at the blue tracer. All right. And did it happen? Absolutely. It happened. It played out beautifully, guys. So let me go down to the Euro CAD. Okay. And then today, you couldn't ask for a better setup. I don't know if you trade this, but there was also news on the Euro today, but you could not ask for a better setup here. And let me break down to M5. All right. We had the break in structure here. And then we had this break. Boom. And then you had your entry at the blue tracer. Okay. That's the safe entry. Obviously, you could have gotten in a lot sooner at the open price where you see this white line. You could have done that. About 60 pips right to the quarter point. All right. Or if you waited for the retest, you could have got in at that moment there. Still good. I mean, golly. You know what I mean? Beautiful. All right. So what else did we have? We talked about the 3 sisters, DJ, Nas, and S&P. All of them were 5 low of week. They have all maxed out on their ADR. All right. And let me bring over that chart. Okay. All right, here we go. We're going to look at Nas right there. And beautiful trade. Okay. Beautiful short trade. It did happen later on in the day, but you definitely got the short trade. You could have taken this trade nice and easy right at the open where you can see price put in the high of day and then boom, you're in. Okay. You're in. You don't even have to hold it. You didn't even really have to hold this trade. I don't recommend that you do hold, especially because it was the first push, right? After the first push, you're going to have the retracement, okay? And then your and then you're going to have, definitely a clean set trade to take after the retracement. Okay, and this is obviously the better trade. Were you available for this trade? I don't know, because it was totally later on in the session. It wasn't early on. And I know a lot of people like to trade, at the open, or at least when the market opens at 9:30, and then get in if the trade is available to them. Okay, but definitely had a nice clean drop towards the end of the day before it put in the low. All right, so let's see. DJ also did a great trade today, short at the high. And again, and why don't I recommend that you hold these? Because of course we're at the high. Of course we're supposed to drop, but it's also going to be a little choppy, because it's that first, part of the head and shoulders trade before it actually drops all the way. And this one dropped nicely. The high of day showed up just before the market opened. I think it was right after the news. There was 8:30 news today, and this had put the high of day in at that point. Okay. The retracement was pretty much all of the entire main session, right? And then again, towards the end of the day, we had the nice drop. I don't know if you were available for that, but they all worked out, right? Even S&P, I'm pretty sure did the same thing. Even though I didn't take this trade, I was in Nas and DJ. I didn't take this one, but I love it when they're all together, and when they are, I just call them the three sisters. Okay. So now, guys, let me just show you real quick if you're not familiar with what I mean with the max ADR. So this just simply means that this has maxed out. It has gone over and above from what we're expecting, and the reversal is intimate. That's really all it means, okay? And it just really helps you to find those setups. So that's how I look at this, guys. Very simple. Now with the indices, of course, it does, the fundamentals do have a huge play in those. But with the currencies, not necessarily. We don't care too much about the news. But with indices, absolutely. Okay. So what are we looking for, guys? We're looking for structure to break. We want to go short on this, then it definitely has to break the previous day low. And then we would love to have it to retest the area and then continue to break down. And then eventually the indicator will update for us if that's the case, right? If that's what happens. But is that going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. Okay. I really don't know. Let's see if we have some more news. That's another thing. Let me see if we have more news tomorrow. Okay, let me get to Forex Factory. Oof. Let's see here. See. So tomorrow we have news at 8:30 and 9:45. We have PMI. So yeah, I'll wait definitely, because that's at 9:45. You should have a clean move around 10 o'clock, or even sometimes 9:45, right? 9:46. It might be finished for the day and you can get into a trending market. So that's exactly what we're going to look for tomorrow. And we're just going to wait until the news happens, because I'm telling you guys, if you can trade before the news and you're in the markets earlier, great. Trading during the news or right when the news hits, I don't recommend it. I've been in it too many times. If you are in it, make sure your risk is very low, because you don't know if it's going to go and try and do a stop hunt and then go into the trend. But that's why I'm saying just got to be precautious about it, and you got to make sure you're managing your risk appropriately. But me, guys, I would prefer to just wait until that news is done and then get into the market as it's trending, because that's the name of the game. Okay. So, guys, if you want to grab this indicator, information is going to be in the bottom of this video. All right. In the description, the details about the broker that I'm using now, locals information, everything that you need, right, to be a part of the group, to engage, to get the, just get these signals, right? I don't know what else to say. All right, guys. And you get to try it for free for 7 days. No credit card required to do that. And just try it. And make sure, I need to say this, make sure you check your spam or your bulk inbox if you do decide to try it for 7 days, because there'll be some emails that you're going to get, and you're going to miss out on the special if you don't see it in your regular inbox. Okay. All right, guys, we are all set for today. Thank you for stopping by, and we will see you in the next video. Ciao for now.